Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday vlog, the day of the week where we just kind of take a moment to discuss activity that goes on here with the channel, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, technology, and items of interest that come up. So that allows us to have a little bit of dialogue, a little bit of a discussion as to what all is going on. I'd like to thank those from Gab, Steemit, and BitChute for your guys' support as I spread the message to these newer platforms, and of course, to all my YouTube subscribers and visitors and those that are new to the channel. If you are just arriving here for the first time, I want to welcome you guys here and encourage you guys to click on that watermark down there in the bottom right-hand corner to help support the channel, as I will get into that in just a moment. So starting it off with channel news, you guys may have seen the newest release of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen by Visionary Realms and Brad McQuaid. The guys have just come back from PAX East there in Boston, Massachusetts. I'll leave a link up in the corner here for you guys to check out additional videos concerning Pantheon. And also the Civilization 6 videos, Robert the Bruce has wrapped up and completed in post-production. Actually, part of it is still in post-production, but suffice to say that it's a total of 15 of the game segments, so you guys will be getting the rest of those probably the rest of this week and next, so be looking out for those. And you can, in the top right hand corner, see additional gameplay of Civilization 6, so click on that if you guys want to see the other gameplay. So starting off the newsy type portion, we're revisiting Count Dankula, the YouTuber out there in Scotland. As you guys may recall, I'll leave a link up there in the top right hand corner for you guys to review that original video. So the follow up here is that good news. Dankula went back to court and didn't have to serve the 1 and or 5 years in prison, which would have been quite awful. He ended up paying an £800 fine, or equivalent to $1,100 in US dollars. But there was a very interesting exchange when he came out of the court. I want you guys to check that out right now.
Really dangerous question to say, for people to say things that content you completely ignore, and then they can be convicted for it. Basically, you don't get to decide the context of what you said, other people don't get to, the court decides to. That's dangerous.
Yeah, on YouTube, you distributed an image, video of you in about in the space of a minute, teaching a pug dog to raise its paw in a Nazi salute. You said gas that used 23 times. What's funny about that?
The context of it is the juxtaposition of having an adorable animal react to something vulgar. That was the entire point of the joke. Have you seen the video?
Do you accept you committed a crime?
Have you seen the video?
I have.
Right, okay, so I explained the context in it, so why are you asking me again?
Well, the context is that you've been fined £800 for a crime that
no,
you committed.
We're talking about the context of the video. Don't try and move on, mate.
We had in court.
Yeah, can I just ask, why did
we had in court that you committed gross offence against a large community of people. 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust.
You just said the statement a couple of seconds ago. Why should I consider your context if you're not concerning mine?
You've broken the law. Do you regret breaking the law?
You just broke the law 2 seconds ago when you said the phrase. Remember, context matters, mate.
So did you guys catch that? 2 different occasions that reporter repeated the same exact thing Dankula did in his videos that got him fined and arrested for being grossly offensive. Think anything's gonna happen to that reporter? Probably not. You know why? Because like we've discussed before, there's a set of rules for this group of people and there's a set of rules for that group of people. And apparently I'm sure that because this guy's a reporter, his context won't be questioned. In other words, he won't be appearing before a judge and the judge interpreting what his context really was, as opposed to Dankula, who had explained to everyone that it was a joke, a little prank that he was trying to play on his girlfriend, but apparently the judge saw it otherwise as an opportunity for apparently Dankula to spread some sort of anti-Semitic message, subliminally, or however he wanted to do it. It was purely a joke, and as you can see, there are a certain group of people that will get punished for it, and others who will not. I have a follow-up story to Dankula's segment here, and that is that his attorney is going to appeal this. And what they're going to do is they're going to hire a bigger firm, some big gun attorneys to come in there and appeal this with them. So Dankula later that day put out a GoFundMe page where he was requesting up to $100,000 because it probably will be quite a legal battle because it will be him versus the state. So bigger channels and individuals such as Philip DeFranco has contributed to this legal fund, but I'm kind of happy to hear about this because I had an Australian viewer mention that they're in Australia, they are losing their free speech as well. So we can add Australia to the list of countries like Canada, the UK, and Europe that are being affected by free speech. And I'll get into this in the next segment concerning YouTube and Europe here momentarily. All right, guys, so I had planned on discussing the tragic events that happened there in Toronto. Emmanuel Macron meeting with President Trump, along with the whole Kanye West deal that was going on there, that Twitter fest that was quite entertaining and amusing, along with Ronnie Jackson, who was going for the VA position. And as of today, as of this recording, apparently he has backed out of that. The reason that I didn't really go into those this week is because I've had several of my videos flagged. The one from last week, as you may recall, where I was talking about the particular group from that video. I don't want to mention them again because then it'll get flagged again, or this one will get flagged again. But everything turned out great as far as that event. So I'm happy to say that there was no major problems. A few little scuffles with police, but nothing too serious. So it was handled very well. So I'm happy about that. But that video was flagged. Now, I had considered going to that event and recording it, but when you factor in and weigh in production time versus AdSense revenue and all that, it probably would not have been worth it because it would have been very much flagged, and who knows what other could have even been suppressed, considering if I had any coverage of those individuals in the film, probably wouldn't have made it through. All right, guys, so what I can discuss without fear of flagging, at least I hope not, and that is kind of what goes on behind that camera right there, which is more of my forte, more of where my strengths are, as opposed to being right here in front of the camera, trying to worry about lighting and other things that go on. How's that sound? Yeah, the lighting, that's because it's overhead here and so forth, but I want to keep it organic, so that's what it is. All right, so what we learned this week from fellow YouTubers and from YouTube themselves, no big shocker to us, but they ended up deleting 80 million videos. 80 million videos that were in violation of their EULA or other policies that they had, their terms of service. So I'm not sure how the IT team is handling that, but man, that's going to be a lot of space on some servers right there. But essentially what's going on here, guys, as I mentioned earlier, is that some of the videos that I produced have been flagged, not just the vlogs or the vlogs or video log videos, but last week's video was flagged because of what I covered and so forth. It didn't get flagged till about 2 days later. But as creators, we kind of have to weigh our options, like what we want to produce and what we want to do. Because like right now, basically for my channel or for my work in particular, say like doing these video logs, is that for every minute of video you see, it's about an hour to 2 hours worth of work. So it isn't, you know, going on your phone and turning it on and doing your live chat on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. There's a lot of production that goes on in the background, especially, you know, I want to give you guys as professional content as I can. Now, of course, I'm keeping these more organic because when I first started doing these vlogs, it was like 13 hours to put these things together. You know, the thumbnails, the concepts, the research, and things that go into all this. It takes time to do it. It just there's no fast way to do this type of content. So this is why we have to kind of oftentimes weigh our options as to what we're going to cover, what we're going to do, because it's like, well, do we want to take a hit on the flag for this particular video this week, you know, or not? Do I make up for it by doing some other videos later? And then allow that to be flagged, or maybe even ones that we just intentionally demonetize ourselves. So basically also what happened is MCNs, or multi-channel networks. These are third-party businesses or companies that help YouTubers grow their channel. They're basically a service. So what they do is they kind of make their pitch about helping creators to expand their channels and provide different services for them. So basically what they do, for example, is say if you're a gaming channel, they will specifically target your videos with gaming information and ads and things relating to games. If you're a beauty channel, then you'll get different banners and things for beauty products and such. So they kind of do that. They also provide individuals with copyright-free music. Sometimes they provide video blocks, which I really enjoy. which allows you to use stock footage and things like that with no copyright strikes and things of that nature, or the big watermarks in the front of them. So that's kind of what an MCN does. And what happened was that YouTube approached some of these MCNs and told them that they were going to have to drop some of their users. Now, some of these guys have been around since day one of YouTube. And many of them went on to YouTube to explain and show their letters, and they were really obviously upset, because what's going to happen now is once they're released by their MCN, there's like no level of protection for them at all. They're like, in the out of the crowd of the MCN and right in the target eye of YouTube. So those guys are going to be very cognizant of their content as to what they cover and what they do, because now they could get strikes and then lose their channel altogether. Now, there's lots of speculation, a lot of rumors, a lot of things that are going on in the background as to why this is happening. I won't go into that specifics, because that could create a problem here on the channel. Now, I don't want it to appear as though it's some sort of police state activity. I totally understand why YouTube is doing it. I don't entirely agree with it. But also this week, some of the bigger channels like Philip DeFranco, as I mentioned earlier, and Boogie2298 were talking about how their channels were affected. And these guys are huge YouTubers. We've seen what's happened with PewDiePie or Felix. We're seeing what was going on with Logan Paul and things like that. So there's not like, we kind of have that, certain rules for these groups of people and certain rules for that group of people kind of going on. There's always, I guess you could just say there's just levels of bias, right, that goes on here. But I wanted to bring that up to you guys because your support really helps this channel. We're all being affected. All of us creators are being affected overall. So say, for example, like if you go to my main channel page there, I have both donation and Amazon. Now, this is strictly voluntary, but I'm just saying, if you guys want to help out channels like mine or others, some of us are Amazon influencers. You'll see the little logo there on the banner page, the main banner page. So if you guys, have a birthday coming up, or a friend's birthday, or something you're thinking about getting or whatnot, you can go by my store, which is that link there that I provided, and it just basically takes you to the Amazon page, and then you use the search criteria there at the top to look up whatever it is you guys were going to purchase. And that's kind of an easier way, or a easy way to help support my channel or other people's channels that have that function there, as opposed to maybe the direct donation thing there. But what I also do behind the scenes is I do voiceovers for the Lost History channel. And if you guys aren't familiar with that, I'll put a link to their channel down in the published section below. But guys, that's all I have for you for this week. Thank you so much for your support, your likes, your shares. I'm glad you guys are liking these vlogs. I've kind of cut down on some of the fanciness of the production and stuff, just to be able to just for us to be able to exchange and have these dialogues without having to be worried about all the post-production stuff that goes on there. I do obviously still want this to be high production value, but at the same time I want to try to keep it a little more simplified and just allow us to have these dialogues. So I will see you guys next Friday.